Welcome, 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 welcome. Today, I am in my investigative mode because this is the Unbook Club, an Aces Matter sponsored event to give away information that we truly believe has a life back guarantee. So I have been sitting with this idea of wanting to bring books together with people, and I was like, I want to do something not like a book club, but like where we could just come and talk about books. And maybe we haven't finished reading them all because maybe all of them are so good, but I just wanted a place to talk about books because I have a lot of books. If you could see around my office, I am surrounded by words. I love words and the idea of words. Words, 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 words. So anyhow, I picked the book called My Grandmother's Hands by Resmaa Menakem, who is a published author. I only learned about Resmaa when I started going down the journey to address my own childhood trauma and stuff that was just like carryover that I had no idea would influence pretty much how I moved about the cabin of adulthood life and the American dream. So Resmaa's book happened to be a part of my formula, a part of many of the books that I picked up and started reading when COVID hit, and some of the ones I dusted off that had just been a part of my teaching career, many of which I have never finished, which somewhat inspired the idea of bringing together all the books and the thoughts that I've gathered, collected over the years, and then find other people that wanted to do it too. So here we are. Y'all gonna get a real-time first read of me looking at chapter 12 of My Grandmother's Hands. Now, because I'm not trying to break any copyright laws, I'm not going to be able to show you the text, but I am going to spend 15 minutes giving y'all some real-time reading from chapter 12 called The Wisdom of Clean Pain. And if for any reason you missed the last two recordings of My Grandmother's Hands this month, you can always go back and watch them on YouTube. It was quick. One conversation, I had a guest. The other conversation, it was just me going live and coming back to chapter 3, which was the first book that, the first chapter that I picked out of this. But anyhow, as we address our adverse childhood experiences, try to create environments where children have less scores than our own. That is a really low bar, but that's somewhere we can start. They always say we got to meet people where we are. So what if we could learn about adverse childhood experiences, the causes and the consequences, and then acknowledge that we have them, those of us who have had the privilege to make it beyond 18 years old, acknowledge the ACEs that we have, and then make it a point to share what we know about ACEs with everybody that we meet, especially if they have anybody in their care under the age of 18. And the goal should be, what if we could just start by saying, we want children to have fewer adverse childhood experiences than we did, because we know that adverse childhood experiences lead to the whole host of things that we're currently trying to solve in this world. Suicide, addictions, substance abuses, violence, crime, you name it, disease, it's there. And so this whole American dream that we have, I think Resmaa Menakem does a great does a great job of elaborating on the importance of us healing our dirty pain, because I like to look at adverse childhood experiences as dirty pain. So let's try to look at this from the sense of setting the bar, meeting people where they are, and helping people who raise children who have less or fewer ACEs than their own. So let's go. First read, chapter 12. The Wisdom of Clean Pain. Life is full of pain. Let the pain sharpen you, but don't hold on to it. Patricia Nambu Isolo Noah. I did not practice this. I told y'all it was real time. Self-care is constant practice of not letting more pain accumulate. Oh, that's a good one. And so I narrate if you missed the first two when I narrate, so just bear with me. Self-care is the constant practice of not letting more pain accumulate. It is about continually remembering that our lives are of value. It is the active process of settling our nervous systems so that we have more access to the present moment. I felt that, especially when she said, settling our nervous systems. That was a quote he pulled from Susan Raffo. So I'm going to give us a good 10 minutes of just reading and narrating. And whatever I get done in these next 10 minutes, that's where we leave off. And then I will stop and process what I just heard. And I'd love if y'all are watching this, whether live or on the replay, comment what came up for you as you heard the first few minutes of chapter 12 of My Grandmother's Hands. Again, highly encourage you to purchase it. Go to our website. And if you purchase it from our website, we do get a little kickback from Amazon when y'all buy directly from the hyperlink that's on our website, because we do want to support the author, even though he does not know that we're even doing this. We feel it's important to bring this information to people, because guess what? We can read. And some of the people that want this information, need this information, they might have went to some public schooling or maybe not got any schooling at all, and they can't read stuff like this. So let's bring it to them. Here we go. Resma says, healing trauma involves recognizing, accepting, and moving through pain, clean pain. It often means facing what you don't want to face, what you have been reflexively avoiding or fleeing. By walking into that pain, experiencing it fully and moving through it, you metabolize it and put an end to it. In the process, you also grow, create more room in your nervous system for flow and coherence, and build your capacity for further growth. I think he was rhyming in there. He don't even know it. Maybe he caught himself doing that, but I felt it. He goes on to say, clean pain is about choosing integrity over fear. It is about letting go of what is familiar but harmful, finding the best parts of yourself, and making a leap with no guarantee of safety or praise. So when you, what we like to say in our culture, I'm gonna just take a leap of faith. So when you take that leap of faith, take it knowing that don't be fixed on the outcome. He says no guarantee of safety, right? Because you don't know what's on the other side. For sure, you know what's on this side if you stay put and don't make no changes in your life. You know what it feels like. You wake up to it every morning and you hate it, you regret it. So he's telling us when we take the leap of faith, there is no guarantee of safety, or it might not be nobody on the other end to say good job. You may have to just tell yourself good job yourself. You know how they say pat yourself on the back. So he says when we take this leap, like we got to go over to the unfamiliar, because these familiar spirits over here, some of the doctors like to call them zombie cells. I'm mixing ologies together, but these familiar spirits just want us to stay put because we know it's safe right here. Even if I'm in a relationship that is unhealthy and maybe the person is abusive to me, even if I'm in a relationship that is unhealthy and the person is abusive to me and the children are seeing it, but it's safe because I know I have a place to go. And so what we know for sure is aces are coming. I will get back on script. Here we go. This healing does not happen in your head. It happens in your body. And it is more likely to happen in a body that can stay settled in the midst of conflict and uncertainty. Let's process that. Your body is more likely to stay settled if it doesn't have to be around conflict and uncertainty. So we have to get out of our head and heal within our bodies. I think that's what he's trying to say. Carrying on. When you come out the other side of this process, you will experience more than just relief. Your body will feel more settled and present. There will be a little more freedom in it and more room to move. Ooh, some of us just feel still. Again, I'm gonna tell y'all, they call that stillness zombie cells. They just be like, I ain't moving. I think that's where all the zombie movie comes from. I can't make it up. Google it. Doctors call it zombie cells. Like they walking around there like, oh, I ain't going nowhere. And that's on the inside of y'all. And if you listen to my courses, then you'll know that I talk about humans as cells. Like we're made up of more cells than we are humans. So really it's like all these cells that are on the inside of us making this decision, but I'm going to carry on back on script. There will be a little more room for freedom in it and more room to move. You will experience a sense of flow. You will also have grown up a notch, because we all know we get stuck where we got stuck. What will your situation look like when you come out on the other side? You don't really know. You can't know. That's how the process works. It's called imagination, in my opinion. You have to stand in your integrity, accept the discomfort, and move forward into the unknown. So for those of us that are not ready to go sit across a therapist, because in our mind, we have been ingrained to believe that the therapy office is only for crazy people and sitting on this chair where somebody is all in your business. I'm telling you right now, you're getting advice right here from a therapist who has published a book to let you know this is what he's been experiencing and this is what he's uncovered through all of the hundreds of patients that he's seen. So this is a therapist talking to you, narrated by me, who used his book when it got to the point where I realized, okay, I didn't gone through my therapy. I'm ready to take power into my own hands. So I started learning my way through my trauma. Back on script. The alternative paths of avoidance, blame, and denial are paved with dirty pain. When people respond from their most wounded parts and choose dirty pain, they only create more of it, both for themselves and for other people. This is a perfect segue to adverse childhood experiences, another shameless plug. When we are parenting with our ACEs, scientists would call this creating daughter cells, cells. Cells will live and thrive all up on the inside of us, and they split off and they create daughter cells so they can multiply, and they keep doing this until the cell naturally dies or it becomes a zombie. It's just like, I ain't creating no more daughter cells. I'm just going to sit here and watch TV all day because, I'm fed up with this place, basically. Okay. So that's happening on the inside of us. All of that is going on the inside of us. But on the outside of us, here's how the human shows up. Okay. When we are parenting with our ACEs, I had to stop because my thing stopped recording, and I sure hope this is still going. But when we are parenting with our ACEs, we are inevitably showing our children how life works through the lens of our trauma, our own trauma that has not been healed. This is how I'm reading this. And for him to say that when we respond from our wounded parts and we just like, I ain't growing up, this is just who I am, that's just the way it is, we are inevitably moving from saying we want happy, healthy children to we want children that act just like us. Are y'all with me? The alternative path, sound like Charlie Brown. Try this again. The alternative paths of avoidance, blame, and denial. And denial is the longest river. I just want you to know. Denial is the longest river. And denial are paved with dirty pain. When people respond from their most wounded parts and choose dirty pain, they only create more of it, both for themselves and for other people. That's my time. I gave y'all a snippet of chapter 12, The Wisdom of Clean Pain. This book sounds like something we should be picking up and dusting off, especially if we know somebody that's parenting with ACEs, if we know somebody walking around with zombie cells that just can't get up. Like, for those of us that are in the scripture, there's I believe it's Mark, where he talks about Jesus and helping the man that couldn't walk. He told the boy, stand up, get up and walk. Right? The cells, get up and walk, right? Come back alive, right? So when you go down this yellow brick rabbit hole of healing from your childhood trauma, striving to be a first generation chain breaker, you're essentially saying yes to the dress, and you're waking up zombie cells, and you are taking a chance on yourself, according to what I've read so far in Resma Menacem's book called My Grandmother's Hands. This is all about, like, it's a lot more to addressing intergenerational trauma than what we can just see on the surface. Like, that's just the way that family is. But there's also generational trauma, colonial trauma. And if all today's science is telling us that this trauma lives in us at a cellular level, then everybody got some work to do, right? So I think, again, awareness in itself is an intervention. I hope you cop the book, pick it up. What are your comments? What are your thoughts? What came up for you? because the flesh is taking the fall for the cell's pain. The flesh is taking the fall for the cell's pain. That's my time.
Unhealed trauma acts like a rock thrown into a pond. It causes ripples that move outward, affecting many other bodies over time. After months or years, unhealed trauma can appear to become part of someone's personality. Over even longer periods of time, as it is passed on and gets compounded through other bodies in a household, it can become a family norm. And if it gets transmitted and compounded through multiple families and generations, it can start to look like culture.